Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Final score in this game today, Carolina Panthers 24, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have successfully ended the Carolina Panthers playoff hopes. But hey, we still have one more game to play, and Coach Wilks already said expect men finish. So he expects these guys to play a tough game and finish well next week in New Orleans. So this game today in Tampa was a game of hope. It was a game of opportunity, but ultimately it ended up being a game where it was just flat out too many turnovers by the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay able to capitalize on those turnovers, specifically 10 points off of turnovers, allowing this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team to score more points than they've scored since week 4. I think I can't have the stat directly in front of me, but I know they're week 4, maybe about 24 points. And today they put up 30 points behind some very impressive performances by Tom Brady, by Mike Evans. This Tampa Bay team really made a comeback today and was able to beat the Carolina Panthers. But nevertheless, as always, we're going to break down this game for you, go over some post-game comments from Coach Steve Wilks. And you know what we're going to do today? I want to hear from you Carolina Panther fans, all right? So there's a link in the description. Please feel free to tune into that. Click that link and come and join, but don't do it just yet. I'm going to go over some stats, going to talk about what Coach Wilks said, and then I'm going to open it up to you, all right? That's the least I can do. I will take off the professional reporter hat for a second and say, man, this game was like a nice punch to the gut as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came back in this game. Certainly felt like there was opportunities where momentum was shifting, and you just felt like, come on, Carolina, let's hold on. But the way it ended, you know, things started to fall apart. But I don't have any loss in saying Steve Wilks can be the coach for this team. I don't have any loss in saying this team put together a great run at the end of the season. But I want to hear from you guys, all right? I want to hear from you guys if you think that Coach Wilks should still be the coach. I say should still. I say that because I know a lot of people felt like he should prior to this game. So I want to know if you feel like even after this game, does he deserve to be your head coach? And just how do you feel about this team? But first, let me go ahead and go into some stats from today, all right? Let's go ahead and talk about this passing game today. And you see here, Sam Darnold, 23 of 37 for over 341 yards, a 100.8 passer rating, threw 3 touchdowns today. 1 interception. So let me make sure I get this right. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And, you know, in this game, you want Carolina to run the ball. You wanted them to get to running the ball. But Wilks said it best in his post-game, so, you know, you take what you give, you take what they give you, then you take what you want. They were giving them passing. And Carolina needed to pass the ball. They weren't getting any success running that ball, and that's what the identity is. That's what you want, but you can't do it all the time. And when the defense isn't giving you that, the run game, and they're giving you something else, take it. And I felt like he did the right thing in taking it, and I think that they were pretty successful in taking it. I mean, again, looking at Sam's stats here, 23 for 37, that's a pretty good percentage. You're not going to get a percentage like that and get over a 100 passer rating. He did have the interception. Sam did have the interception, and there were 2 sacks. But overall, in my opinion, a solid game by Sam Darnold, even having a very impressive play in that fourth quarter where they're just trying to score two touchdowns, and I think it was under a minute. I forget the exact time at that point, but he had a scramble where he got away from 1 guy, 2 guys, kept on running, and got the ball to, I believe, Chuba Hubbard right on this side of the field here to go down and get some yards to keep things going. And, oh, yeah, and they got the field goal on that one, but they weren't able to pull it out completely. Let's continue to go over some other stats. Hey, please, I see some comments coming. Please continue to leave them, and I'm going to ask for it right now, all right? Hit the like button. If you're watching this video, hit the like button. There's now some more people out here joining me. At this moment, there are no Carolina Panthers press out here, not to say that they will not come out or they're not broadcasting from somewhere else, but man of the people means win or lose or draw, as I said pregame. Post-game, I'm going to be 30 minutes after. I think I was a little bit more than 30 minutes today. It's a little tough being at a new stadium where I don't know how to quickly get down to the field. But I'm here, and I'm going to answer your questions, and we're going to talk about this Carolina Panthers performance today. Let's go ahead and go into the rushing, which, you know, I give Wilkes credit. It wasn't there, and he went to the passing game, but he tried that run game as much as he could today. Deontay Foreman, 13 carries, 35 yards. Sam Darnold, 5 carries, 20 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 3 carries, 12 yards. And then Laviska Shenault, 1 carry, 7 yards. But Deontay Foreman, 13 carries, 35 yards, a 2.7 yard average. What did the Bucs do? Well, they had a lot in the box, just the same way that Pittsburgh had a lot in the box. But none of our packages were able to move those guys. And you can have a great scheme, but you're still going to have to execute, and they just weren't able to get any kind of execution, any significant push on that front line to get that run game going, all right? Let's talk about the receiving. I probably should have done the receiving right after I talked about the passing. Note to self for a future broadcast. I see someone's calling to join the show. Not yet. I'll let you join the show, but that's after I go through all of my stats and all of Coach Books, and I'll let you guys come in on the show, talk about whatever it is that you may feel, whether you want to vent, whether you want to ask me a question, platform's there for you, all right? So let's continue to go on the receiving part of it. So on the receiving part, normally I don't list this entire graphic on the receiving part. Normally I'm just going to cut the receiving part at, maybe 4 guys because I just want to talk about them. But I said Sam Darnold wasn't at fault for this game today. Sam Darnold did impressive today. Sam Darnold spread the ball around. Man, these flies in Florida are out and about. But Sam Darnold spread the ball around today very, very well. So that's why I want to show you all these numbers here. He spread it around to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys. 10 guys. When was the last time you saw Sam spread the ball around to so many guys? DJ Moore was a guy who led that targets with 10, 6 receptions, 117 yards. So congratulations to DJ Moore. Still had the long ball, still had a 47-yarder. And I didn't mean to do that. And I'm going to find my stats about it. But Sam Darnold and Tom Brady, both today, as of the early games, the 1 o'clock game, had the deepest balls. They had both about 50 yards, and Tom had some closer to 60. Great to see some big plays. Unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers weren't on the proper end of a lot of those big plays. But DJ Moore continues to do well, getting open on some deep balls. 1 touchdown, 47 yards was his long, 117 again. Shi Smith having, I didn't look it up. I didn't even really see this before I got on air. This had to be one of his best games of the season. 4 targets, 4 catches, 70 yards with a 17.5 average, and also the 1 touchdown. Chuba Hubbard getting in there with 353. Tommy Tremble, again, Giovanni Ricci. Terrace Marshall, he's normally the guy who's getting some of the deep balls. He wasn't able to get any today, but still had 2 catches for 15 yards. Laviska Shenault, etc., that you see there. All right, offensive side. Again, we put up 24 points. It was not a terrible day for the offense, but what did do this offense in? Well, the turnovers. You had the 1 interception there by Sam Darnold, and then you had some fumbles. He actually fumbled twice. The first one he picked it right back up, so play went on as normal, but then he had another one in which he lost. So actually he had 3, and he lost 2. And then we had the 1 interception, so that was 3 turnovers. We did not win the turnover battle today. Let me see how many turnovers that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may have had today. I don't want to speak improperly, so give me a second just to get these stats up formally in front of me here. I always like to talk accurately here. So Tampa did have 1 turnover. but we had 3 turnovers, so that's a +2. This team isn't built to, to sustain that. And on the defensive side, which we're going to talk about, injuries, Coach Bucs has done a great job coaching through adversity. Sometimes it's just going to catch up with you. Time of possession today, we weren't able to win that. As you may imagine, not being able to get the run game the way that we want, so we weren't able to win the time of possession. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the time of possession with 33 minutes on that they had time of possession. The Carolina Panthers had 26 minutes. Basically, I can't say minutes. I'll keep saying mentions. Tampa Bay had 20. I'm just going to start over. Tampa Bay had 33 minutes time of possession. The Carolina Panthers had 26 minutes, almost 27 minutes time of possession. We weren't able to win that matchup there. All right, let me get back to some more of the stats that I want to talk about here. These guys behind me, I guess, don't know that I'm on live TV, but I'll let them do their thing as they're just posing off. It is what it is, right? Hit the like button for the guys in the background that don't care that I'm on live TV as they do their little photo shoot. I should get them on here and ask them what their Instagram is so you guys can go on their pages and give them likes. Let's talk about this defensive side. Frankie Louvu continues to play some very, very good football. Frankie Louvu, I don't know what his contract status is, but man, he should continue to be a good person and a pivotal player on this team. Frankie Louvu, 13 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss. Jeremy Chin and Shaq Thompson as well having some pretty good games. Those guys in double digits with their 12 tackles, and then Shaq Thompson with his 12 tackles. But something that I want to point out here, we got some pressure on Tom Brady today. All right? We got pressure on Tom Brady today. We sacked Tom Brady, but we just didn't do it enough. And when we didn't do it, he was able to take his time and hit some deep balls down the field that just hurt us pretty bad. But let me go over some of this on the defensive side. I'm sorry. I went through. Okay. C.J. Henderson, he had a pass deflection. Marquise Haynes with 2 tackles for a loss and a sack as well as a quarterback hit. Yetur Gross-Matos with a sack, a tackle for a loss, and a hit. And how about Yetur on the block for the field goal? That was a time that during watching this game, thought about, man, all right, this is it. I didn't know when we were going to find that moment, but I said, this is a moment, if you guys were following me on Twitter, this is a moment to get that momentum back, get some points on the board, and we did, but it still wasn't enough, man. It was tough. It was not enough, but hats off to Yetur Gross for still giving us an opportunity, and still hats off to Wilkes for the way he coached this game. You may disagree with me, leave them in the comments, we'll talk about it, but he still had this team with an opportunity to win in the final moments of this game today. But a lot of good defensive pressure that you'll see. Derek Brown with some quarterback hits. Brian Burns didn't get any sacks, but had a hit as well as a tackle for a loss. And Matt Ioannidis as well, doing the same thing with some hits and tackles for a loss. Keep the comments coming. Hit the like button. I appreciate everybody that's tuning in because I know a lot of people are not happy right now. Carolina Panthers have lost. Playoff chances are over. But I'm joining everybody that's here. Let's talk about turnovers were obviously one thing that really hurt us on the offensive side. We're not going to win when we do that. The other thing that hurt us, big plays on the defensive side. I don't normally go and show the other team, but let's show the other team here. Mike Evans ended the day with over 200 yards. Does anybody remember the time that we played and Julio Jones in Atlanta had over 200 yards and Bené Benwikere was the one who was on him, and then the next day he was released? Is that going to happen this week? I don't know. It's pretty late in the season. We don't have many other bodies back there, but, man, 200 yards given up, that is a ton. 200 yards to Mike Evans. And, you know, it's crazy. He had so many yards, you really forgot about the other receiver for Tampa Bay, but he did pretty good as well. Chris Godwin, over 120 yards. Longs, 63. And I think the other one for Mike Evans was 57. Tom Brady had over 400 yards passing today. Again, this offense prior to week 4, I believe it was, hadn't scored over. Let me see if I can have my notes in front of me so I can say this number correctly. Here we go. I'm going to say this number correctly. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers haven't hit the 24-point mark since week 4. And they succeeded in surpassing that today. For the first time in their history, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are back-to-back NFC South champs. Can you believe that? They have never been back-to-back NFC South champs. Actually, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise has finished in last place more than third, second, and first combined in their history. So Tom Brady's been here for 3 years, obviously making a change and an impact on this franchise, which, little footnote shows just how important the quarterback position is in the NFL. But the Carolina Panthers, I was setting up here today, and somebody said, hey, we get one more home game. I said, well, you do, because I'm covering the Carolina Panthers. He said, but you guys, you made them work for it. And we did. We're going to forget that right now because the final score, too much, Tampa Bay, too little, Carolina Panthers. But we were in this game. We were winning this game up until the fourth quarter. And that's what you knew that you had to prepare for. That's what I said in the pregame. That's what Coach Wilkes knew about. That's what anybody should know about if you've been following this Tampa Bay team, is that first quarter, second quarter, even the third quarter, they're going to be behind. But that fourth quarter, if they are within striking distance, they go to that hurry-up offense. It clicks, it works, and they succeed. Now, what did not help us today, what undoubtedly did not help us today, was the play was missing J.C. Horn. I mean, honestly, you want to say missing J.C. Horn, missing Dante Jackson, but also good to say this. What team in the NFL isn't facing some adversity with injuries right now, right? What team isn't facing it? So we got to get some more depth. We got to get some more tools on this team so that we can, counterbalance things as we need to in order to still win a football game. Let me go back to a few more notes, and then I'm going to talk to you guys, all right? That link that I put in the description, in just a minute, you're going to be able to click on that. I want you to come on, whether you want to vent, whether you want to ask me a question. I'm here for you, all right? So there's a few more things that I want to touch on before I open the floor up to you guys. So give me just a second to get completely ready for that. Got to hit the right button. Didn't talk about Josh Norman today. Let me talk about Josh Norman. Had one snap in the first half. Had a handful of snaps in that second half. His snaps came really once the game, I won't say was decided because we lost by 6 points, so we still technically had an opportunity, but we were down by 9 points when he started to get involved after another deep pass. And, ironically, those touchdowns are coming right down here, and there's a ton of media set up now at this point. See if if there's any Carolina Panthers media. There is not. All Tampa Bay and little NFL Network. I think I see Carolina all the way down the other side. I guess I'm the only one that didn't walk all the way down. But nevertheless, Josh got in. Coach Wilkes, talking about Josh Norman, said the following. They didn't want to put Josh in that kind of predicament. So, did Coach Wilkes give us a little coach talk this week when he said that Josh, well, maybe he didn't, I almost said, because I don't want Wilkes to be like, hey, Chris, I didn't give you no coach talk. I told you the facts. But he said that he didn't know how much Josh would play, but he knew that he would be limited to 25 snaps, and said the scheme was a part of that. and what Tampa Bay would be doing and what the Carolina Panthers were trying to do against that. It was shown early on that, man, that's going to be some tough work stopping Mike Evans. But I think this is what happens here. Josh is, mid-30s? And you would imagine that he's lost a step. I'm not saying that he's now running a 4.940, but I'm sure he's not running what he was running when he first came out of college. And maybe if it was so much they were hitting shorts and intermediates, that they would have pulled the trigger to put Josh in there sooner. But I feel like because they were hitting deep balls, which means you're running 60 yards down the field for a guy that was not playing professional football all season long, didn't join your team until I think Wednesday technically of the week, you can't expect Josh Norman to keep up with Mike Evans running down this field, running 60 yards, running for over 200 yards, catching the ball. So, minus catching the ball, that guy probably ran 350, maybe even 400 yards today up and down this field on routes. Josh Norman would have been gassed, and Tom Brady would have been able to see that and take advantage of it. So I get when he says they did not want to put Josh Norman in that predicament. About to turn it back over for you guys to have an opportunity to come on, ask your questions. But, okay, C.J. Henderson, Keith Taylor. Most of Evans' yards were on C.J. Henderson. One play, hey, what about some safety help? Safety help was supposed to be there. Coach Wilk said it wasn't. All right, what about all the other plays? Well, on the other plays, Wilk says this. Bottom line, the guys still need to execute. It was one play in which Evans kind of hesitated, and then Henderson slowed down with him, and then Evans put his hand up, put the Jets on. Henderson didn't have the ability to do so. Tom Brady threw a very well-timed ball, meaning he caught him in perfect stride. He didn't have to do a jump ball. He didn't have to make adjustments. Just kept running down, threw a perfect ball, touchdown. So what stops that? Better execution. Don't stop if you hadn't heard a whistle. Things like that, all right? So they got to get that in play. They got to get those things improved. And what I am most wanting to see is how this Carolina Panther team plays in their final game with, nothing on the line, no opportunity to make the playoffs. New Orleans won today. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. In the NFL, teams can win any Sunday. It's hard to win. Tom Brady said it tonight on his press conference. It's hard to win. He's glad they had a chance to win. He's glad that him and Mike Evans are clicking, but it's hard to win. And let's see if the Carolina Panthers can finish with 2 road games in a row with playoff hopes now dashed. How will they play? And for me, I'm going to continue to monitor to that and give you my opinions on whether or not I think Steve Wilks deserves to continue to coach this team. Let me check my notes from you guys. Give me just a moment to get back to my screen. All right, so I got some good comments, which I'm now going to get into, and I'm also going to ask. I know it's a tough ask. But we're independent media, supported 100% by you guys. So anytime there's an opportunity for a super chat, if you're watching on the widescreen full on your phone, just turn it tall. You'll see where you can do a super chat and donate to the show continuing to exist. But you also have Cash App, which is an option now. So that's in the description at CVOD, $1, whatever you can do to continue to support the channel. Greatly appreciate it and need it. And outside of that, hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, help us get to 6,000 subscribers. We're going to continue to cover this team each and every week through the offseason, all that good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's go to these questions here. Shaquille Bartal says C.J. Henderson should retire along with Keith Taylor. Maybe both of them should open their own coffee shop because they obviously don't give a bloop about playing hard and smart. I can't say that these guys care. They definitely didn't execute. And, if they retired, then we're not going to have any secondary. So we can't do that. We got to hope that coach is able to coach them up. These guys are able to get some intestinal fortitude and come back and play some solid games. I said games, but play a solid game in New Orleans coming up. But Shaq, Heat, nevertheless, always appreciate you tuning in and talking with us here. Donald Duck, it's over, Chris. Cut Keith Taylor, trade Henderson. I can't. I know the fan base wants to draft a quarterback, but I'd rather take a defensive player. So I strongly believe that this secondary will continue to be addressed. The primary addressing is going to come from that quarterback, and we're going to carry things over through there. One thing I can assure everybody that has a lot of deserved upsetness with C.J. Henderson and Keith Taylor is that your head coach is a very defensive-minded guy. So I can assure you, when he gets the offseason, if he gets the offseason to be the head coach and to continue to make adjustments, you're not going to see this secondary with guys making mistakes like you're seeing with Keith Taylor. And you see C.J. Henderson kind of go up and down, up and down. You're not going to see that. All right. Steve Wilks is built on the defensive side. Before he was our head coach, right now he was on the secondary side. It's going to change. I assure you that that's going to change. Donald Duck, I appreciate you. All right, hold on, Shakid. I'm going to let you come on here in just a second. I got to grab my headphones, though, so that I can hear what you're saying. So I had to step off camera for a second, and I'm going to grab my headphones. And I'm going to let you come on in just a second and give your comments. So give me a second here. Don't have a full team here to mic me up and put in my headphones and everything, but we're going to do so. All right. Let's see if we can get our first guest on the show. All righty. And now let's see if we can add you to the show. Say something, buddy.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, man, you're loud. All right. There you go. All right, you got the floor. What do you got?
Thank you. So, as far as the game go, outside of the Super Bowls, the two losses, this loss definitely is one of the worst losses in team history, without a doubt. Now, as far as the game go, outside of the underthrown interception by Sam Darnold to Stefan Sylvan, which I don't understand why you target him, you don't go to DJ Moore or to someone else. The offense overall played pretty good, but we didn't get the running game going. Now, as far as the defense go, they played bad. I mean, I can say other word, but I'd rather not. They played very bad. And the problem is with the defense, Chris, when you allow 400 yards, part of it is on the secondary, but part of it is not getting enough pressure on the quarterback, which we did not. I even tweeted out when we got the fumble recovery, please, we cannot allow Tom Brady 7 seconds in the pocket. I mean, let's be honest. Keith Taylor, C.J. Anderson, as I mentioned, should open a coffee shop. Maybe next week or after that. Because the thing with C.J. Anderson, and the play that he got beat up, if you notice, he basically stopped running, which to me, it's all about effort. You're getting beat, at least keep on running. Maybe you can strip the ball. But basically, he stopped running for 10 yards, which is all about effort. So, thing is, Steve Wilks should have noticed that this is not going well as planned, and make an adjustment. Maybe put Miles Outfield, who is realistically the third safety on the depth chart. Maybe put Sam Franklin, the fourth safety on the depth chart. Maybe try to see if you can replace Anderson and Keith Taylor. But the bottom line is you cannot allow Brady 7 seconds in the pocket, basically on every down, and expect to hold them to under 400 yards. And the other things that really frustrate me, number one, sure, Tampa Bay did not have a lot of success running the ball. But if you notice, whenever they had success, they basically picked up 5, 6 7 yards at times running the ball, which is a no-no. It's all about effort and not winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. Also, a lot of the times during the game, we got beat up right in the middle, where it's Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin responsibility. So Steve Wilkes, in my opinion, is a great human being from all we owed. He should be offered the defensive coordinator job. If great, if he accepted it, fantastic. But if he does not, the team has to move on, because the bottom line, they basically lay egg today. Because we knew Tom Brady.
We got to wrap up pretty quick here.
Yeah, sorry. We knew Tom Brady can beat you up. So make an adjustment. Make some sort of adjustment and don't allow him so much time in the pocket where he's going to beat you up.
Hey, Shaquille, thanks so much for your comment there. Had to just normally give you guys on long enough to say your questions and your comments. I don't know if I'm going to remember everything they said, but I always appreciate you guys coming on. So I'll continue to open the floor for another 15 minutes while I'm out here for anybody that wants to come on the show, vent, ask a question. Shaquille there, very passionate Panthers fan, thinking that, hey, this defense was not good enough. You know, they did have some bright spots. They did get pressure on Tom Brady. They did have eight hits on him. They did have 3 sacks. But all the plays that they did not sack or have pressure on him, he was able to pick them apart and have those huge plays to Mike Evans. Shaquille there saying that, hey, why not get somebody else on there? Hartfield, rotate somebody around. Well, good questions that you brought up, but I always just like to have you guys come on and ask your questions or say your comments. Shaquille, appreciate you very, very much. Let's go through some more of the other comments on here. Again, if you want to come on the show, you're welcome to do so. There's a link in the description. Turn your phone sideways if you don't see it so you can see that. Click on that, come on the show, and I'll have you on for a minute. Hopefully I won't have to cut you off, but I got time limits out here. Nevertheless, they even cut the scoreboard off on me. You see that? Nevertheless, let's continue to walk through some of these comments that we have here. NFL Kid says, I had to hold myself from crying. So many parents didn't get mad. I'm not exactly sure the last part of that, what that means, but yeah, this was a tough loss because we just, first quarter, lead. Second quarter, a lead. Third quarter, a lead. Fourth quarter, you know, things start to change. And we just couldn't hold on and get the victory today here in Tampa Bay. But I am, you know, it was tough. One of the more tough losses to endure just because of the turnaround that this Carolina Panthers team was having. Because of the opportunity that we had when we didn't have it in week 5, you know, to finally have a team where it's 2 games left, where it's January and it's relevant and you have a chance to make the play. You haven't had that feeling in a very long time, and you just wanted to come to complete fruition and this team make a playoff run, but it just didn't make it, all right? And yeah, there's hope for next year. But right now, I get it. We gotta fans are gonna be sad about this for a minute, and it's all right, I get it. Leonard Kowalski says, rough finish, y'all. Yeah, very rough finish, very rough finish. Why does C.J. Henderson jog after he gets burned? Yeah, that, you know, that didn't help his case that he jogged, you know. It didn't. It didn't at all. I have no defense for him on why he jogged. Maybe he was tired. Maybe, you know, even if you know that you're going to be beat, you still want to show the fight all the way to the end. And he didn't at that point when he kept getting burned by Mike Evans. Good question, Leonard. An answer I don't have for you. Oh, and I think this is Leonard talking about he remembers that game in Atlanta where Julio Jones scorched us and Bené Ben-Wickery is running all over the field trying to keep up with him, and it just wasn't able to do so, and then he got released after that game. Let me continue here. Someone said 20 points allowed in the fourth quarter. Yeah. We scored 10, which is pretty good. 10 points in a quarter. Excuse me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, scored 20 points. 20 points in that fourth quarter. Things just started. In my opinion, they never got where they were just completely out of control, like this team is giving up. But it was just, to me, this is just my opinion. You guys can disagree. Sam getting sacked right over here. They were on this side of the field, losing that ball. It's like, man, you haven't seen that guy do that all year, and it happens today. Icky wasn't able to hold his block. The guy comes, hit him, and it's recovered by Vita. I'm not going to be able to say his full name. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Vita Vey, which is a guy that was just active today, and I said in the pregame he could be a force on that run game. I haven't gone back to the tape to see how many times he was really responsible for those stops, but we didn't do good at all running the ball today, and he was able to get that fumble recovery. So he also got 2 hits on Sam Darnold today. So, yeah, that happened, right? Continuing on through these comments here. Defensive line, we need more, says God of Blackness. Tim Essie's Panthers very consistent at disappointing fans. I can't disagree with you there. We need a change. That's going to be addressed this offseason by owner David Tepper. And let me also I won't say break this, but talk about this for the first time on my channel. I didn't realize this, but David Tepper, people don't like the turf there. So the NFL Players Association filed a grievance. They filed a grievance against the Carolina Panthers for their field conditions last week in Carolina. Yes, it was record cold, 20 degrees. Field conditions, they said, got a little bit better, but they should say that field in Charlotte is just way, way too hard. Needs to be addressed, needs to be improved. So, to me, David Tepper, you got 2 good opportunities to really get in good with your fan base here. 1, make Steve Wilks your head coach. 2, get your field converted from turf back to grass. You'll get back a lot of fans, start off the season with a lot of hope, which is all you can ask for, and see where it goes from there. But, yes, very consistent at disappointing fans. You guys hitting that like button? Are you? All right, hit the like button, please. Taylor Sheridan, good game. Got to give it to Mike Evans. Need better cornerback. Bucs still aren't good. Hope they lose to the Cowboys. Well, we shall see. But Taylor, certainly appreciate it. And no, they're not that great. They're certainly peaking at a good time. NFC South as a whole is very weak. We'll see where it goes. But I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated. Now J.C. Horn going to come back when it don't matter. Yes, glad that you brought that up about J.C. Horn. At this point, I'm going to tell you, you heard it here first. No sources, strictly Chris Jenkins' opinion. J.C. Horn is done for the season. There's absolutely, positively, unequivocally no reason to bring J.C. Horn back when you now have no chance to make the playoffs. He has a broken wrist. He's a young player. Let the thing healed very well, not get this young man any other kind of problems that could come from maybe re-injuring it. Just play out the game with C.J. Henderson, Keith Taylor. I know it's frustrating, but just play it out, not at the risk of J.C. Horn, all right? Who remembers a game that we were up 13-0 and Quincy Carter threw 2 DD in the final 2 minutes and we lost 14-13? That's a top 5 loss all time for Leonard Kowalski. Says signing Josh Stormer was all a decoy. I don't feel like it was a decoy. It was the best attempt to make it work. You had a guy the previous week that didn't show up. You still had a shortage. You still needed some depth. Bring Josh in. You signed him to the practice squad. He's not getting paid very much money whatsoever. See if the guy comes in. See how much legs he has, see how good a shape he's in. Maybe today's game play out a little differently where they're not hitting bombs and you can bring Josh in for some other situations. Win the game, Next week, you're able to leverage Josh even more. You make it into the playoffs, you're able to leverage Josh even more. So, not a ploy, just did not work out as perfectly as we all would have liked for it to have worked out. Got a Blackness says, too conservatives, it's all hands on deck at this time. Too conservative, and what part? Got a Blackness, if you don't mind, if you're still on, to give me some elaboration on that. I guess the 6 on his jersey. Tim Masters, yeah, he didn't play much today. And you guys felt like I was too harsh on it. But this is what I felt would likely happen. Not that we would lose, not that I wanted us to lose, but just the fact that the guy is that old, not ancient by regular life, but by football life, pretty old. To come in and make an impact today was a tall order. It's a tall order, and it just didn't happen out. And it wasn't able to happen. Coach Wilkes needs to be more aggressive. Hopefully he gets a job and gets better secondary next season. He went for it on 4th down today. I'm curious if you guys could talk about exactly when you wanted Wilkes to be more aggressive. We went for it twice on 4th down today. Didn't make it. And, yeah, I mean, you guys could have some valid opinions there. But I just don't know at what point are you talking about more aggressive. More aggressive on offense, more aggressive on defense, and where exactly within that side of the ball would you want it to see the more aggression? All right, we're going to skim through some more of these comments here. So you guys are talking about some of the drafting that could happen in the offseason if Steve Wilkes is able to maintain being our coach. Some people saying more pressure up front. Yeah, so you can try to get more pressure up front, but Tom Brady is a different kind of quarterback, okay? You're not going to be sacking Tom Brady 5 times in a game, 4 times in a game. We sacked him 3 times today. That's really, really good. I don't know Tampa Bay like that to say when was the last game that he was sacked that many times? But I know pregame I had a stat where he was number 1 in not getting sacked, and I think it was like an 18, 19 number that he's been sacked. If we've played 16 games, that means he's getting sacked like 1.2 times a game. Let me see if I can quickly find that. All just to say that it's not too often that the guy's going to be sacked. Let me see if I can get it. So I got it in front of 19 times. Over 15 games, Tom Brady doesn't get sacked much, all right? So I was right, the numbers off the top of my head and the math that I did. We sacked him 3 times today. That was a good job. But our secondary has to play better. And honestly, it really means that we need to have more depth in our secondary because our starters, Dante and JC, I don't think you would have seen that today. But I go back to this is still the NFL, and you just got to have depth. Injuries are going to happen. You can't say we can win any season if everybody stays healthy. Every team wants that to happen, but that doesn't happen. Appreciate the comment, though, God of Blackness. Can't understand nothing this guy is saying. Are you Tyrone, can't understand nothing this guy is saying. You talking about me, my mic, or is it somebody else in the comments? Let me know. I'll tell you, as much as I don't like him, Tom Brady is a good quarterback. Bucs still suck. Let's see. 3 Brady burgers were not enough in terms of the sacks. We should have tanked. Because we are trash in Carolina. You know, me touching on the tanking comment, and I'm going to grab me a little bit of water right here. No, we can't tank because one thing that we're trying to do is to get a culture back in Carolina with the team winning, all right? And if you tank, you're not going to be building any kind of culture at all. You're just going to be having guys continue to be upset that they're a part of something like that, and you're not setting a good precedent. Sorry about that. I had to take a little drink of water. But I understand the draft pick. And maybe if we just had, anyway, that's my take on the thing. Kareem, appreciate your comment. Appreciate it very much. All right, got a new question here. Do y'all think if Wilks is fired and Sam Darnold is released, the Panthers will be back to square one next year in the NFC South? That is so many layers of what if, this, then else, maybe. You know, if you were to fire if you weren't to retain Wilks as your coach and you release Sam Darnold, I still feel like things can be going up because your new coach can come in and we have some draft picks. Now, we don't have as high as we were hoping that we were going to have, but we're still going to have a draft pick and be able to make some changes. So it's very possible. You just have to see what that mentality is for that new guy that comes in, what kind of changes he's wanting to make. And you can take it from there. But it does not automatically mean, okay, we're back at square one. You know, does he like the pieces that are in here? Does he like some of the philosophies that Wilks and Rule a little bit have from the players that they have and can build on that? It all goes from there. So Super Tybo, appreciate your comment. A little hard for me to guess at this point. Continue to skim through some of these comments here. Chance Hine, disappointed here. I'm with you, 1,000%. Got a blackness. Go look at CJ's marijuana charge on YouTube. Tells you everything. I got a marijuana charge. I don't have a marijuana. Let me turn down my light here because it's getting dark, and so my light is now very bright on me. But I appreciate the super chat very much. It's needed. Your support is very much needed, everybody, to continue to operate Charlotte Vibe and have the team on here that we have. And I always appreciate you all. Anything that you can do to help keep the channel going. Appreciate you very much there. Kenneth Perry says, what is your name? Chris Jenkins is my name. Not sure why you want to know that. Links are in the description if you want to help support the channel. With the Cash App is CVibe. My name is Chris Jenkins, a.k.a. Man of the People. Appreciate you tuning in there, Kenneth Perry. Let's see if we're going to finish out with a few more. Carolina Panthers, what happened? Steve, probably lost, man. Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat us. We lost. Wasn't the best thing for us today, unfortunately. Just skimming through some of these comments that are now starting to go all over the place. Uh-oh, got a blackness with 2 super chats. 2 conservative with Josh's plays. 3 TDs later, more Josh wouldn't have hurt until it does hurt. Yeah, excuse me there. Got a blackness. Foremost, the super chats, 2-in-1 video. Tremendous, appreciate it very much. Hopefully I'll meet you. It's like every time I'm somewhere, I still meet fans of the Panthers and supporters of the channel. Got a blackness. We haven't met, I hope I do. But you can't tell me. I'm going to step out the way here so you can see all this field behind me. And they're now clearing the field. I don't know what they're changing it for. But you can't tell me that Josh Norman would have ran up and down this field with Mike Evans today and not pulled a hamstring or something. I mean, I get it. You wanted some improvement. But Josh, I don't think would have been the savior. But I really appreciate the super chat. Got a black. You're going to help me stay in business alone, man. I appreciate it. Ask McAdoo how the Giants did with sacking Tom. All right, all right. Let's see here. Just skimming through some more of these comments here before I get off of here. Taylor Sheridan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, I asked for it because I need it. You guys are stepping up to the plate to continue to support the channel so we can stay around and continue to incur the expenses that it takes to travel and cover this team year-round as we do. So Taylor Sheridan, thank you very much. As you saw in the description, 100% supported by you guys. So we need it, and I appreciate it. I will keep pounding. I will continue to bring you guys all the news with this Carolina Panthers team. And thanks so much You know, this loss today makes it hard to watch a show when your team's losing, but hopefully I have been making it entertaining for you guys, and I appreciate that, Taylor Sheridan. A few more here. Super chat, CJ Henderson, not you, Chris. Chris, you are very, I'm not sure what exactly that means, but I appreciate it. Hopefully you're saying something positive there. Jarius Barringer says, hopefully he gets the job. He's talking about Steve Wilks, I assume. The continuity is needed in the coaching department. It sure is. It sure is. Looks warm in Tampa. It is warm. It's more humid than anything, so it's sticky right now. And for me, it's kind of weird. I was looking at the game, just looking at all the people in shorts, like, man, what's it like to live in a place where in January you're wearing shorts and a T-shirt to a game? Yeah, it's warm, but more humid than anything right now here in Tampa. It's been cloudy most of the days, well, yesterday and today. Tomorrow will be a sunshiny day. We'll have a little bit of a late departure so I can try to enjoy just a little bit of sunshine before I get out of here. Graves. Hey, Chris, wanted to say sorry. I know it hurts to be a real fan and still have to cover their losses. You know, it is definitely not been the easiest thing. I've been covering this team since 2006, and to have, you know, it's one thing not to have back-to-back winning seasons, but when we were doing so earlier on in my covering of the team, it was still like winning season, losing season, winning season. You know, you're still experiencing some good times. Right now, 5 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins. Right now we're at 6. And it's after going to a Super Bowl, which we've been to before. That has indeed made it tough, but I remain committed, and I thank you guys all for your support and everything like that. So that's it. That wraps me up from here in Tampa. I appreciate you all very much. The super chats, the likes, the subscriptions. And guess what? We're going to be back at it tomorrow, all right? So tomorrow, or Ask Me Your Carolina Panther Questions, which starts at 7 p.m. We'll do it again. We'll continue to do it as long as this team is playing, which means one more week after this week will we have that show. Thank you all very much. Enjoy your evenings. Happy New Year from Tampa Bay, Florida. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.